Nadeem Bukhari notes. Linguistics. Reading skill, comprehension. Para number 1. Reading, like listening, is essentially a decoding skill. The process operates in the same manner both in L1 and L2. The reading activity may sound very simple on the face of it, but it is undoubtedly very complex. Reading comprehension involves not just coping with the intricacies of writing system, it demands lexical, semantic, syntactic, stylistic, cultural and conceptual competence on the part of the reader. The reading act is generally divided into a number of independent components which contribute cumulatively to the overall comprehension of a text. Para number 2. The first and foremost step in reading comprehension is the ability to recognize the individual words. The learner usually acquires this ability in the very beginning of language learning. The recognition of vocabulary and various kinds of punctuation marks enable him to go on logically to the next step. Para number 3. The second step is concerned with associating meaning with the words or symbols. Words are essentially symbols which stand for various kinds of concepts which we have acquired in our life as a result of our observation, experience, and discoveries in diverse fields of knowledge. In some cases, one symbol stands for one sense, but in most situations, one word gives many senses. And occasionally, one concept may be expressed in different linguistic forms. Para number 4. The third step is the literal comprehension of the text. This step involves distinguishing between a denotation and a connotation, between polysemy and homonymy, between words which are quasi-synonymous, and many other stylistic subtleties. The vocabulary of any language is in a process of continuous change. The learner is expected to be conscious of this fact. Even the most up-to-date dictionaries are far behind in recording the latest developments in vocabulary. To understand the various ways a discourse may be structured is highly important. The writer may resort to any of the rhetorical approaches: direct, indirect, active, passive, communicative, imperative, descriptive, narrative, etc. All of them are different from one another partially or wholly. Thus, various patterns of organizing text produce different effects, though the facts may essentially remain the same. Para number 5. The fourth step is concerned with interpreting the text. Here the reader is expected to go beyond the denotative meaning to dig deep into the implicit sense. Literary writings are usually indirect. In fact, any piece of literature, whether it is poetry, drama, novel or prose, is far from being explicit in its import. The author does not mention many things overtly, he expects the reader to piece together all the missing links based on his own sense of perceiving reality. The reader, at this stage, has to draw on his previous knowledge not only of the topic under study but of the whole life. The interpretations of texts may be different as each approach is based on a subjective bias for the topic and its treatment. That is why, in literature, we come across quite contradictory views of one and the same thing. The scientific writings, on the other hand, are highly objective. Their interpretations do not vary diametrically from each other. In subjective writings, the reader has to make inferences and draw conclusions on his own conceptual knowledge and beliefs in life. Para number 6. The fifth aspect of reading process is concerned with evaluation. After the reader has understood the text on literal level followed by its interpretation, he unconsciously or imperceptibly tends to undertake its evaluation or assessment. At this stage, the reader departs from the text to look into the validity of the matter in the real world. He sorts facts from opinions, establishes the sources of the facts talked about, analyses the force of reasoning, and finally considers the relevance of the topic in the totality of its context. Para number 7. The sixth and last step in the reading comprehension process deals with assimilation. Humans are inquisitive by nature. They have tried to probe into the mysteries of both micro as well as macrocosm. Yet the question has not come to an end. It is not possible for one individual to have a first-hand knowledge of all things that he may be interested in finding out. Of necessity, we have to read books to glean information vicariously. This knowledge which we acquire indirectly becomes a part of our personality. It comes, undoubtedly, through a process of assimilation. It is the process through which the reader makes use of his reading in practical life. The simplest and the most direct way in which assimilation affects the student in his rapid growth in conceptual knowledge and confidence in real life. In addition to assimilating new concepts, the student assimilates attitudes which he derives from reading. We know for certain that some of books have changed fundamentally the lives of many people. Para number 8. The discussion given above suggests that reading comprehension is a highly complex activity. It passes through various steps before it can accomplish its ultimate target. It should be addressed to as seriously as other language skills of writing, speaking, and listening.